Welcome everybody to the Monday, March 31st, Conway joint meeting of the Selectboard, Personnel Committee, and Finance Committees. I'll call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes for both March 17th and the 24th. I looked those over, meticulous as always. Thank you, Adam. So I'll make a motion to vote to approve both meeting minutes of March 17th and 24th.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No warrants. Meetings attended by select board members. Erica.
None since our last, since the last meeting I was at on the 17th.
We voted the school budget for a quick school committee meeting on Thursday night, and Shelley forwarded it to Veronique.
Great. And then I had with GZA, right? Oh, what we're going to talk about here in a minute.
All right.
No public. So yeah, we can talk about this unfinished business here. The final vote of approval for Green Communities grant application.
That's me.
That is you.
Hi, I'm Allison.
Nice.
Does everybody know Allison Gage?
I don't think
Jack. Elaine Campbell.
Hi, Allison.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a planner at the FERCog. So I have a completed application if you want to take a gander. It's mostly just a numbers game at this point. The big question is if the town wants to pay for the purchase of the streetlights, which would cost $5,133, or include that in the grant application.
Let there be light.
We can include that in the grant application. It may make the application less competitive. I've seen towns include that cost and be awarded the funds. So it's really up to you all if you would want to put it on the town meeting warrant or just request it as a part of the grant.
I would say take the risk of requesting them as part of the grant.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
Okay, great. Then I'll do that. That's easy. And then,
Yeah, that's up to you too also.
Yeah.
So if we, that would make us less competitive if we were.
if you include it, technically, yeah, the program says that they like when towns pay for the streetlights as like kind of a match, but it's not required.
Okay.
So it's purely competitive thing. And in the grand scheme of these grants, to them, I don't think $5,000, like, I don't think that's going to make or break it. So.
And so you two are suggesting that we
Put it in the grant.
put it in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because it's not a lot for them, but it is. for
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Yeah, I know. Well,
exactly.
yeah, for a town meeting.
It is,
Yeah.
but I
It'd be a
don't
warrant
want us to
article.
be less competitive because of it.
I mean, what did they give us last year at town meeting?
Yeah, I've seen towns ask for that, for funds for to purchase the streetlights and be awarded it, so it's not like they never.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then roll the dice, right?
I feel that way. What do you say?
I say it's a select board vote. I did try to see if we could get it out of my grant match, but it won't fly, so we'd have to take it out of free cash or, which is already running thin.
No, I know.
So basically, we'd be either we're asking for 47,000 for this grant,
Or 42.
or 42, and if we ask for the 42, then we have to ask for 5 at town
The
meeting.
town meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just ask for the grant.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The other budget question, so the RTE suggested including a 20% contingency because of tariffs, so I added that in. And then I didn't include any administrative costs. Do you want me to include a line item for grant management? Does that, I don't know if that's something that you'll be taking on, or if you would want to hire like a clerk of the works. Has that been considered?
I mean, how much administrative work is anticipated with this grant?
For the streetlight conversion, it'll mostly be the quarterly reporting, and then whoever's doing like the day-to-day management of RTE and EverSource and dealing with them.
Is that something we could potentially expect
Sustainability
the
committee.
sustainability committee to?
I say we give it to Adam and add his hours.
Yeah, this wouldn't start to, I'm sorry, I forget when we would probably be notified in the fall, right?
Probably in the fall, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the sustainability committee could do that.
I mean, quarterly reporting doesn't seem.
Quarterly,
So,
it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Sustainability's probably not gonna be doing the quarterly reporting. They could do all the numbers, but I'd probably have to submit
Yeah,
it
you would,
anyway.
yeah.
So,
And I can always,
yeah, the management of RTE during the process might be a little bit more involved, and I don't know much about it, but I figure,
Oh, Chris has that down.
yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely
I
help.
figure
Chris has that down.
in-house, I think we can probably cover
Yeah,
that.
I'll
Okay.
help.
okay.
And give us
Um,
notes so that we can feel that that's necessary.
That sounds good. And that helps. The other question, the other section I'd highlighted was the personnel section of who's going to be doing what, but I think that answers it all, that we can rely on the sustainability committee. and that stuff. Any other questions on it?
So the only thing you need from me is this letter.
Oh, yes. So the notice of intent to purchase, yeah.
Okay.
So once that's signed, we can send it to Eversource and ask, what are the next steps? in
Okay,
terms
do
of-
you want me to, well, first the board needs to approve me signing on behalf
Right.
of the town.
Do we want to approve them signing off on the grant application first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really a question for you, it's more for Eversource, but I just found it very surprising that we didn't pass the muster for their benefit cost ratio
Yeah,
when we're talking about decommissioning half of our inventory.
I have no idea how
Right,
the calculator
isn't that-
works. It is strange. I can only imagine that because it's so, on their end, it's so little electricity.
Yeah,
That must be why, but yeah, it's,
Is there anybody we can call and ask
that's what we have to make.
to
Um,
kind of be a nudge?
I think, right?
it sounded like they were gonna run the numbers again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Might
Oh,
just
got
be
it.
you
Yep.
and-
Oh, yeah. So I'll make a motion to sign the Town of Conway grant application for Green Communities Competitive Grant for the streetlights.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's been a good project. It's a good project.
Yeah, and then I think Asheville is hoping to apply in the fall, so it'll be a
Oh,
three-town dark sky.
Cool.
Nice.
Border blindness.
Yeah.
They're gonna
City
really work
people
on
will
those
hate it.
17
Yeah.
lights they have.
People love it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, and Allison, while you're here,
Oh, do you want to just authorize me to sign this one?
yes, can I see this? Sorry. I'll make a motion to authorize Veronique to sign the letter that serves notice that we have decided to proceed with the streetlight system program.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Yeah, and while Allison's here, on new business, that first item is the discussion and possible vote on the MVP 26 application, where we originally were talking about flood management around the covered bridge and a little, I guess that's north or west of it towards Ashfield. And as was discussed during that meeting, we did have a sort of buy-in from the Manuels for their property, so we're pivoting to the Manuel property. And Allison, if you had anything further you wanted to mention on that?
No, yeah, so moving forward with design and permitting for floodplain lowering on that site. And then I think the engineers are putting in some tasks to do more outreach and modeling around that site upstream of the covered bridge to see if there's anything that could be done on the town-owned parcels. And then the FERCog has been working with the planning board for the past 5 or so years on a river corridor overlay zoning district, and we're getting close to being done with that. And we had applied for funding to finish it with, with a community planning grant from the EEA, and we applied for that back in August and still haven't heard, so we're incorporating those tasks into the MVP grant. So in year 1, to work with the planning board, do a lot of education and outreach, and hopefully bring that to town meeting next year.
Excellent.
And that's pretty much the full scope.
Is this it right here? This is not it, right?
What are you looking for?
Is there something to sign? I'm sorry.
There's
Or is it just a
nothing to
vote?
No,
sign.
Oh, okay, got it.
No, I was just gonna, you guys already did the grant authorization. I was just gonna exit out and put that we're pivoting to Manuel, River Corridor, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. and-
So I'll make a motion to vote to approve the MVP grant pivot to the Manuel property and possibly the town-owned property as well.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See, showing up to meetings does make a difference.
Did we have an estimate? I think originally it was 300,000 for that grant.
Yeah, I think it'll come in around there.
Okay.
I can't remember what it was. But that sounds right for 2 years.
Looks like you have a quorum if you want
We
to
do.
open.
Yeah, I make a motion to call the finance committee to order.
Second.
I make a motion to approve the committee meeting minutes of March 24th as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Miles?
Thank you so much. We're quick here.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Thank you, you too. Thanks for all your work on it.
Yeah, thanks for.
Fingers crossed for both. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have source pass yet,
No, I told him 6:30.
but we do have Phil, so we can go to the bottom of new business.
Cool.
And discussion and vote to authorize the taking of any further actions to effectuate, geez, big words there,
Yeah,
Phil,
sorry.
geez.
Apologies.
And accomplish the purposes of the 2 Life Path grants as set forth in the grant applications, grant award letters, all documents associated with the same.
So a couple things. When I was here last Monday, you all signed a document that was an authorization to apply for the grant. And that policy was actually enacted after I applied for the grant. But not that that matters. And then during the week, Veronique, you were like, go ahead and sign the grant after the committee voted for it. And yes, no, go ahead. You can finish chewing. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say yes, so that, based on what town council had said, that mass and motion could meet, vote to accept the grant, and vote to authorize somebody to sign to accept the
Right.
grant.
And I sent you all the minutes that showed that on Thursday we did that. But I still didn't know whether it was like completely kosher for me to have signed the grant on the select board's behalf, because you never actually took a vote for me to do that. So that was one. And then the second one is the Mass in Motion voted to recommend a project coordinator for each project, and we wanted you to vote that as well. And then the 2 things that have happened with regard to this grant, since I last spoke to you, there was a countywide grant administration meeting on this, and what I had not realized thoroughly is that all of the grant monies are from private foundation. None of this is taxpayer money. This is all from .32 Health Foundation, which is the philanthropic arm of Pilgrim Harvard Healthcare and Tufts Healthcare.
That's what they call themselves, huh?
And
I deal with them every day. I didn't know
and
that.
they
We
were-
call them philanthropic, one little bit, but
yeah,
okay.
well,
It's one of the organizations.
yeah. So,
Yes, I
so,
guess that's true.
So LifePath is the grant steering committee on their behalf here. So, and in the meeting, LifePath begged us to spend as much money as we possibly could by July 1st, because that's going to influence what the fall grant amounts are going to be from this foundation.
I thought the grants were both like $3,000.
Yes, and of that $3,000, and this applies to all the people that receive, all the organizations that receive grants, they put the pressure on to try to, the grant term goes for a year.
Spend it fiscal,
Spend it
this fiscal year.
this fiscal year.
Okay.
And then I received a phone call from a representative of .32 Health Foundation saying that in particular, they have their eyes on the driving program. That one of their missions is, in these grants that they put out, is to reduce healthcare costs. And they see that driving program as something that can reduce, if you can keep people in their homes that would otherwise have to go to nursing homes, and that's a multi-$100,000 annual
Oh, yeah.
expense, then that's something that is really, they're really interested in. And that if we can do a good job with this program, they could attempt to roll that out statewide, or at least in some of the larger cities and larger towns that really have the infrastructure to support a program like this.
Do we know if Ubers would even come to Conway?
Ubers come to Conway if you want to pay them to drive from Northampton.
Yeah.
So it's $30 to come to your front door.
Okay, so $30 to even start.
Yeah. So, so those are the two bits of information. That we're going to be invited to apply for additional funding in the fall for that program in particular, and that if between then that we can demonstrate that somebody actually gave up their car and used this program instead of going to a nursing home, then that would unlock other avenues of funding, not just philanthropic, but from the health maintenance groups themselves. So,
But aren't they gonna go for bigger areas that have more volume? I mean,
first they're going to go for a program that exists and to try to support that so that it's
Yeah.
a model that they can then roll out
Yeah.
elsewhere. So those are the two things that
okay.
yeah, so that's what we want, a vote saying, yes, sign the grants on our behalf, and a vote to nominate the project coordinator for each one that was recommended by the committee, unless you have a better idea.
No, I was just making sure it wasn't voted by the committee, because that would enact a huge issue of multiple things needing to be done to actually make that happen. It's a lot smoother to go through the select board.
Yeah, that's what we
So-
did, it was.
Okay, it was just a recommendation.
Yeah, the terminology was inartful,
Okay.
but I didn't compose the minutes.
Got it.
But yeah, we didn't, the whole thing was to recommend.
Yeah, I found,
So-
this is what would have to happen, just so everybody's aware, if you went through a vote in a committee. Because this is pretty wild. If you're appointed official on a committee, you have to be all of these things. A special municipal employee, make disclosure to the town clerk, be approved by select board, and have a town meeting vote to approve the appointment.
Yeah.
All those things would have to be done. But a vote with the select board is just a input with select board.
Right.
And the town policy has always been committees forward recommendations. And
To
so
the select board,
and
yeah,
that
to
was-
avoid that.
That was the intent, and George Forster, God bless him, he does the minutes, and he did his best.
Right.
It was-
What are the tasks of the administrators for each grant?
Right,
Ah.
shouldn't we, I feel like,
Go ahead.
I mean, this is like a paid position, isn't this something that we should like post?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing
Yeah,
town
we
council
have to,
said,
like-
it needs to be advertised.
Yeah, so we have to advertise that.
As a new position,
Yeah.
two new
Um,
positions.
I mean, it's a paid position, but it's not town funds paying it, and it's,
Like, but if the funds are coming to the town, then
They're
technically.
coming through the town, so it's a town position.
It's gonna be a
It's-
town,
that's-
I mean,
yeah.
like, anyone is gonna they'll have to be on town payroll, basically. They're gonna be set up as a town employee, right? That's
Is,
how
Right.
it works.
is there a length of how long it needs to be posted?
You know, I believe the personnel handbook is silent on that, on how long.
So we could like post it immediately, and establish our own, say, like, post it for 10 days.
I'd have to, oh, wait a minute, I have it right in front of me.
Are the grants in jeopardy if we don't have the appointed?
I think they just had to be approved, right?
yeah, all the paperwork, the first vote about authorizing me to sign on behalf of the select board,
Yeah.
then I can submit all the paperwork tomorrow. The funding is supposed to be released tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we can await the outcome of whatever we need to await,
The
but
posting, yeah.
obviously the sooner we can get started,
Yeah.
the better for everybody.
Because the idea is that the sooner we show results by July 1st.
Yeah, it is April.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would
so-
say err on the side of caution and post the
3 months.
positions. I'm good with moving forward on voting for the grants or Phil to sign the grants, but to err on the side of caution, post the coordinator positions.
Yeah, I mean, so we need a job description for that, like how quickly could we get that?
Well, that gets to what Elaine was asking
What
about.
are the tasks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna need some detailed tasks to have
And
the
I
job
did,
position.
and I did, at your request, I forwarded to you, I did not forward to the select board, but I'm doing that right now.
Okay.
The detailed, list of what all the tasks are for each position.
Is this position paid hourly or a one-time
No,
stipend?
it's stipend, and
The
it's,
duration of the
it will
grant.
be grossly underpaid.
So a
and it's-
stipend from now until July 1st or
No,
the next
to
year?
the grant term, I believe, goes until the end of April next year.
So, just so you're aware, I did have a conversation with town council, treasurer and accountant, and we're definitely gonna have to have a checklist for everything that happens. I have not had time to check with Maya about this, so that's like a big thing that I've gotta do tomorrow. But every driver's gonna have to be query checked, their license record's gonna have to be checked, we're gonna have to have certification of the proper insurance and vehicle inspections.
And we
yeah.
talked about all this too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
So
is-
their drivers have to provide that information, and then
Yeah.
the coordinator has to certify that that's.
Right, so whoever's doing the position, just, will have the checklist and we'll have to just,
And the idea was what I had wrote, I believe in the grant proposal, was that we coordinate with the police chief. The project coordinator will be doing the checklist while the police chief, also to inspect each vehicle for potential sharp objects and safety for, all that stuff. Like there can't be a broken seat with a sharp,
Right.
like whatever.
So is Chief
It's
Bates
something-
prepared to do those
I haven't
inspections?
spoken with him about it, I don't know.
Yeah, and he's,
Verbal
it's not
commitment,
gonna
so-
be a whole, it's not gonna be.
Might be like
that
3
many.
people who volunteer to drive, so it's probably not gonna be like a.
So I did send each of you the grant administration instructions. It's,
So the drivers are fully volunteer? They don't get paid?
the drivers will get paid,
They get
will be
compensated.
reimbursed the IRS rate for their mileage.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The riders will then get billed 50 cents per mile, which would then, that money would go back into the program to extend the life of the program.
Yeah.
So
that's-
as far as moving forward, we could vote to move forward with the grant. I feel like within the next 24, 48 hours, we could probably come up with a solid job description, recognizing that like,
Well, it's a basic grant administrator with,
yeah, and then some of those,
Activities.
those very specific details about what that checklist looks like, that we could work out later,
Right.
but we could at least, just for the sake of due diligence, post the position.
Assuming I have that figured out with Maya, but yes, there should be.
Maya's our insurance company.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the big.
Yes, that was, yeah.
So could we vote to move forward pending, pending the approval of our insurance? I mean, if
Yeah.
they come back and say this is a no-go, then we just have to go back to the drawing board, but.
Right, right. And I have no clue if they would or not. Town council did say that she thought there were other towns that are doing this kind of
Yeah.
program. So if they already are, but you're
And-
kind of intimating that there aren't any programs out there
We
like
were,
this.
we were
so-
told by the FERCog engineer that came to our committee right before she went out and met you and Ron at a culvert.
Megan Rhodes?
Yeah, that other towns that she's aware of other towns that have done this. And that the problem always was, there was a small cadre of volunteers doing it. The program usually, and they ended up just getting burnt out or whatever. The town, basically doing this at very little pay, and et cetera, et cetera. So but she did say that she was aware of, because she's been doing transportation for FERCog for like 20 years. She was aware of other towns that have tried it and have done it.
I'm just curious, have you done the math in terms of how much drivers will be paid versus how much is coming in and how long, how many rides that might equate or how many miles, you know what I mean?
And to an extent, I mean, if it's what the current IRS rate is, what, 70
7 cents.
70 cents per mile. It's first of all, it's up to the driver to say yes. No driver's made to, the project coordinator receives the call from the rider and then calls up the eligible drivers, tries to make a match. And so the longer the distance of the drive, the less that would, so. But if it's close by, if I know the one person that would like rides to the food bank. I know the other person that wants rides to the senior centers. That wants there's a couple of people that have said they want rides to the Hadley shopping centers, and that sort of thing is. There's 10, 12 miles, whatever. So it would last a lot longer. But and that's why when I was here last time, I said we really wanted to focus the effort and to be able to say, no, or especially to steer people towards FRTA if all they want to do is go to the Big Y, to try to get them to go on Thursdays when FRTA takes them. Or if they want to go to medical appointment, you say no, call up, FRTA will come and get you if it's 24 hours notice, etc. But the idea really was to focus on those seniors that really have been told by the doctor they can't drive anymore, or and they're still driving because they know that as soon as they stop that, they have to go to the nursing home. That's really, and we know that every year there's a few people that go into that status, and the idea was really for that. And so the initial, when I was here, even as recently as last week, we were like, I wanted to sort of husband the resources to the extent possible so that the program is available for those who so desperately need it, those people. Now I'm being told by the foundation to go for it, and there'll be more money in the fall.
I hope it works out because we'll all be there soon.
Right.
So what I'll say is I'll make a motion with the obvious background of Maya needs to approve insurance our insurance company needs to approve what we're doing here, and that we post the coordinator position as well. But I'll go ahead and make a motion to have, to allow Phil Cantor, on behalf of Mass in Motion Age Friendly Conway Committee, to sign the grant application, the grant for both Life Path Age and Dementia Friendly Community Grant programs, one the housing and one the transport.
And that was the grant award, the grant payment request letter, and the grant payment request, the grant payment schedule.
As stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
All right, and then, yeah, I mean, Maya's the big thing. I don't think that, as Erica said, that the job description needs to be anything crazy. Just a couple lines, put it out there, and we'll see.
Right, so I had mentioned something about maybe putting something in the currents to explain what the options are, and Phil, I like your idea. If what you did was you write an article about these grants, that you could also include the options for FERDA, just in other words, and I know that a lot of that has been in the Council on Aging updates every month, but I just think highlighting it in one area would be really.
FERDA is now actually advertising in the Current.
Oh, great.
And it is an informational advertisement if you want to take a look.
Okay.
It's on the last page, it's like the last paid advertisement.
Oh, really?
It's a
Okay.
paragraph. So
Good.
if you think I should add something, just take a look at that, and then if you think I should add
I
something to it.
just think
or
it's helpful, if it's all
right.
going to be in one place, for seniors to look and see, okay,
All
this
right.
is a new program we're going to try to start, and here are your other options if you were unaware.
All right.
Great. Let's hope we
So
can make
is
it go.
this for you or is this for Phil?
Both. Because I would submit that with the grant papers tomorrow.
Oh, well, I just learned how to scan.
Oh, yes, cool. Yeah, there you go.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Cool.
I showed her how to scan from your phone.
Oh.
From notes.
Life-changing.
Oh, I need that skill.
Yeah, if you go in
You
notes.
should just do a technology workshop.
There's a camera at the bottom. You hit that camera, it says scan document, and just put it over and scans it for you automatically.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep, I've done it twice tonight already, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Phil.
Yay. Yay. Thank you, everybody.
All right, so we have SourcePass here.
Yep, and I'm going to make Dennis and Mike our co-hosts so they can share a screen. And so I just wanted to give a quick background before we have Mike and Dennis present. So as you know, I've been kind of looking at all different IT vendors for a while now. So we've been working a lot with SourcePass. They have been incredibly responsive to the things that the town needs and is looking to do. And when I went into this process, all the vendors I spoke with, the two main concerns that I brought up were, one, making sure that we, if God forbid something happens, we can retrieve our data immediately, like it's someplace secure, and so, so that we can get it back. And two, for the customer experience, dealing with like a ticketing system, that kind of thing, just sort of the interface. So with that very quick introduction, so we have Dennis White and Mike Leroux here from SourcePass, and they're going to give us a quick sort of overview of, you're both still muted, just so you know, of what their proposals are for us, and then how their Quest platform works. And we can review the budget too. I have that up and ready to go too.
Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Appreciate the time this evening. Nice to see everybody. As Veronique pointed out, my name is Mike Leroux. I'm the VP of Solutions Engineering here at SourcePass, joined by our sales executive, Dennis White. So thank you very much for the time this evening. Before we get into the proposal, I'm going to address something Veronique shared with us, and it's really about the customer experience. You know, with a lot of IT providers, they want you to work a certain way in requesting support from their organization when you have an issue or when a need arises. One thing that SourcePass has developed is a platform that we called Quest. It's an online platform to allow you to obtain information about your environment and a lot of information about the customer experience with regards to submitting tickets and being able to track that information. It's an alternative way to another way, which we also support, which is still being able to pick up the phone and reach us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also can reply to emails like any other organization would, but this gives you another option. So I'm going to go ahead and take a moment to share my screen real quick and give you a quick overview of what that looks like.
Does he have
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Can everybody see that all right?
Yes.
All right, great. I am definitely a Zoom newbie, as they say, so appreciate it. So one thing I'd like to point out is this platform is accessible via the web. It's also accessible via an iPhone or an Android device, so there we have mobile apps for this as well. The first screen you'll see right now is really just giving you some metrics regarding your environment and the service experience. This is demo data, so please don't hold any of this data against me. But what you see is a quick snapshot of the overall service statistics within your environment. Now, one key thing to point out here is you'll see that it's branded as Quest. We will brand that as the town of Conway, so it feels more like a Conway application as opposed to just a bolt-on from a provider. You'll see a satisfaction score that's indicative of the fact that we send out survey results after every ticket that we work on because we want to get the customer feedback about how their experience was in dealing with that ticket or issue, or when they contact us. We want everybody to give their feedback so we can react accordingly. We'll track your tickets over time via these charts, and then most importantly, we're completely transparent with our service metrics, meaning that we track things like acknowledgement time, response times, and resolution times. This ensures that everybody's having a good experience and that if necessary, we can have constructive conversations about when we may slip up or when we can work together to improve the experience for everybody. So you can see that we track the response times, we track the ticket categories. We use ITIL standards with tracking ticket categories, so we like to understand what type of tickets or issues are going on in the environment, whether that's a security alert or someone's computer is not working correctly. So we like to track all those metrics. We also track percentage of time spent on each ticket status. Nice to know, hey, if I have 10 tickets, 50% of those tickets are in progress. Maybe 20% of those tickets are in the queue, 10% of the tickets are new, etc. And then lastly, we track tickets based on other metrics like the top users who submitted tickets and then the top devices. We also look for correlation. So in this example, maybe Bruce Test has put in 67% of the tickets, and maybe Bruce's device also has a direct correlation there that his device has the most tickets. What this means is we can be more proactive to say, hey, maybe Bruce's computer's a little bit older, maybe it's slated to be replaced. Is there anything we can do to try to get those issues resolved in a more timely manner? It allows for planning and budgeting in the future as well. Maybe the town was planning to replace 50% of their computers next year, but Bruce wasn't on that list. Well, maybe we should have Bruce to that list to go ahead and take care of those problems.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
So you're tracking the physical inventory of town-owned hardware. So if I am using my personal iPhone and I'm on Selectboard, it's like my personal iPhone, it's not issued by the town, you're not going to track that device, right? I mean, you might know that I've submitted a ticket because somehow I can't get my email on my phone anymore, but it's not, like, you're not going to, you won't know that that's an issue with that particular device, correct?
That is correct. So in the devices and the issues and also the inventory which we track, which we'll get to a little bit later, we put our agents, our software to help protect those devices only on company and business issued devices. Meaning that while you could still, if you would like to, it's your preference, download the application to be able to submit tickets, will not track or pull any other data or metrics, strictly input driven, just as if you went to a website and filled out a form. And then lastly, we track things like employees onboarded and offboarded. To be quite clear, frank, I don't see a lot of value here. It's a town, you guys don't churn a lot of employees, I'm sure, but that's one thing that we track as well. Any questions on that? That's just the overall service metrics.
No?
If the town does a project with us, like we propose, you'll also be able to track the status of those projects, where they are along the project timeline, what phase they are in. Any corresponding billing information will be all tracked from this project report as well. So you'll be able to get your project manager on there and all the details of the project and any corresponding billing records that are associated with it. And then security report, we put a lot of security tools in place in your environment. We'll go through some of those in a bit. What we do is we look at all of that data coming in from all those different tools, and we give you a nice little dashboard that gives you a security score that's based on a lot of different metrics. So it's a nice, quick, easy way to sort of get a quick glance at what your overall security posture is within the environment. We track things like security awareness trainings completed, any security related tickets that have been open or closed, and then we trend line that out to see how your score is doing over time. Ideally, you want to see the score improve, not get worse, but we track all the security information. We will do all the patching for your environment. We track those patches. We report on any scheduled rebooting that may need to take place as a result of that. And then we track unpatched vulnerabilities within the environment. Again, one of those items that should look really low in terms of available or unpatched vulnerabilities. And then we track high user risk trends. So these trends are being pulled from a bunch of different metrics. So for example, if you have a user that logged in from Conway at 6:42 p.m. on a Monday, and then for some reason we saw an attempted login from that user at 6:49 p.m. from Boston, we would flag that. That would look nefarious, and we'll track that as part of the high user risk trend. What that allows us to do is say, in this example, Catherine being one of the top at-risk users, that'll allow us to have a conversation with Catherine and say, hey, Catherine, let's understand what you're doing. Here's some things that we've noticed from a security perspective you should look out for. And what it does is us trying to be proactive to prevent any security-related incidents from within the environment. And then much like top devices that have had issue, we track top at-risk devices and then recent security tickets. So in sum, these screens are really just reporting and dashboard metrics that give you a quick snapshot of overall posture within the environment from a project, service, and security perspective. Where we see a lot of the value is in tickets. So much like I had alluded to earlier, users will be able to submit a ticket by sending us an email. They can call us 24/7 and speak to a technician who will open a ticket on their behalf. And then you can also submit a ticket from this Quest platform. So I will quickly go through, and this is what the tickets look like. You'll see a list of your tickets that you've put in here. So as a user, you'll be able to see your tickets. So any tickets that you put in, you'll be able to just see that they were entered. You can click on those tickets and then get the detailed conversation view of those tickets. And it will also allow you to update and open or close tickets. So you can see it's very much, dare I say, iPhone-esque with the chat, right? Looks like chat bubbles. You can put your ticket notes in here. You can update your ticket and send it. What I also like is it shows you the last time the ticket was updated, how long it's been open, and then who the users are associated with that ticket. If you've had a long ticket, meaning that it's a quite complex issue and there's been some back and forth and there's been a lot of work, one of the big things we've received feedback from customers on is, hey, this is great, but if I ever want a quick glance at where a ticket is, I don't really want to read through 57 messages to get an idea where that ticket stands. There's a little button up here, and we use AI summarization, and it will give you a quick summary about what the ticket is about and when the last time it's been updated and where it stands. So this is what a ticket looks like in here. You can easily update it or close the ticket. If it's a previously closed ticket, you have the ability to reopen the ticket. And it's really nice because you can track your tickets and get a snapshot at any point where you are along in that ticket journey without having to pick up the phone or send us an email. Any questions on any of that? So far, so good. Am I all with you?
Yep.
Perfect. The easiest way to create a new ticket is click on the new ticket button. We do this based on form and categories. We try to guide the user through a process of entering a ticket depending on the category. If you don't know, you can always click other and figure it out and just put in a generic ticket, but we guide you through the process. If you have an access issue for a login or password, you can simply click this. What's nice too is you can also search for issues. If you're someone who likes to kind of be hands-on and do things yourself sometimes, you can search an issue that has been previously created for your environment, or it will search a knowledge base. So I typed in Teams, and I can click on this article that says troubleshooting Teams, and then it's sort of that self-sufficient, get the answer to your question right away. But you're not obligated to do that. At any point, you can just open the ticket. And then I'm going to click Other to create here, and I'm going to click Create a Ticket. And there are going to be custom forms here depending on the category. I just simply select a general one. You can describe the summary issue and a description of the issue. If you have an attachment, you can choose an attachment. And then if you want to open up a ticket on someone's behalf, maybe they're a little uncomfortable or they don't use the platform, and you're giving John Smith a hand opening his ticket, you can actually click the directory. It will live search all of the users within your environment, and you can open up a ticket on their behalf. And then you would simply click submit, and then it would open the ticket, and it would now be listed in your ticket view here.
What's the typical time between when a ticket is created and when the user that created the ticket is contacted by an IT tech?
It really depends on the nature and the scope of the issue. It's relatively quick. We have what we call a rapid response team. Those individuals are assigned the quick hit easy tickets, but also the very high, extremely urgent priority tickets. You can even select the urgency on one of the tickets on the form. If they see it as urgent, they'll reach out very quickly. The stated SLA, which, you know, the only good SLA is the one that's good enough, is what I say, is 30 minutes. But if it's a high priority issue, we're going to get on it right away. Future state of this platform, as in by the end of next quarter, we're also going to have a live chat feature directly from this platform. So you'll be able to live chat with a technician in real time. That's in testing right now. The technical stuff is done. We're sort of putting a button on the operational aspects. But you'll be able to live chat from a technician right within the platform as well.
Are you going to track your metrics as far as the ticketing system from time of creation of the ticket to the first response to the closure of the ticket?
Yeah, we do. And in fact, that's where this screen will come in, and I apologize because they don't assign me enough resources to the demo as the live environment, but it's loading. But yeah, it will show you the acknowledgement time, how long it took us to acknowledge a ticket, the response time, and the total resolution time of that ticket. And that can be done by ticket. It can be done over a time frame, like last 12 days, 12 weeks, 12 months, etc. So that's our way of being transparent. So we don't hide behind the curtain. You can see all the same data that we can see on those metrics.
Thank you.
We also have a knowledge base, and what I like about this is we put articles in here. They're pre-populated with how to use the platform, but as you submit tickets, this is all for just your environment, and you guys even have the ability to add stuff to the knowledge base. So maybe there's a typical operational procedure you want to standardize on and you want to have an article on. Heck, maybe you want to post a Zoom link meeting in this platform, so now only authorized users can log into the Quest platform and they can have the Zoom link for this meeting rather than going through email all the time. You could create your own knowledge base articles within this platform, and it's all secured and it's all only for just your environment. So a complete knowledge base for you and your organization to use as you see fit. I won't go into too much on this, but we have a whole billable and billing and order section. We'll show you any quotes if you order any hardware from us. Quotes become an order. If you have an order, you can click into the order. Say, for example, you order a couple workstations and you want to see where they're at or what the order is. It will show you the order status. If it's been shipped, it will include a tracking number. And then those orders, once completed, become invoices. Invoices here will show you all your invoices for the monthly agreement, as well as any project-based work or as any hardware purchases, etc. So at any point, you can go into the billing section and view any invoices.
What would be
And I will say, sorry?
what would be the benefit of ordering hardware and or software through SourcePass? Is there industry discounts?
Yeah, I mean, so we're partners with all the major reputable hardware manufacturers, the Dell and the Microsofts and the Lenovo's of the world. So we get very, very good pricing. And because we're not a value-added reseller or a VAR, we don't stay in business by making money on hardware. We're a services-based organization, a people organization. So we pass on a lot of those cost savings, especially for our municipalities and towns and not-for-profits. So we're very competitive with hardware pricing. So we offer really good rates. If there's ever a point which you're just soliciting for bid for hardware, we'll give you our best quote. And if you come back and say, can you do a little better, or hey, I got a better price, no harm, no foul. You're not obligated to buy technology hardware through us. We like it only for the fact that we don't want to be the organization that says, hey, you bought this computer somewhere else and now there's a problem with the hardware. You got to go to the manufacturer for the warranty, and we don't have really a leg to stand on. We'll certainly help with that, but because we have these solid relationships, it's much easier. But we're competitive with all of our hardware pricing. Same goes for licensing. One thing to point out too, I've showed you a lot of the sections on billing and service and support. This is all based on permissions, meaning that there's some permissions, you may have the permissions to see billing, you may not have the permissions to see billing. So it's all based on what we call role-based access controls. So just because I'm showing you all those features doesn't mean everybody would have these features, right? You don't want everybody to have access to billing. So you'll have the appropriate access accordingly to the environment. And then lastly, I'll say we have a thing called communications here. This is sort of like a built-in messaging. If you ever get an update on your ticket, you can see the little bell icon. It will show you a notification. You can also, from within the platform, send out a broadcast notification to all users. And then lastly, what I like is you can create a banner notification. So right up at the top here in this blue bar, you could post a banner. A banner may say, hey, in town hall, we're doing a fire alarm test today. It's only a test, please don't run out of the building, right? Or don't forget about, this month's Zoom meeting for the town meeting. You can post that as a banner up here too. So you can create broadcast messages and banners right from the platform as well. Any questions on this or anything curious about what I've said so far? I wanted to do a quick overview of this, trying to be respectful of everybody's time as well.
I don't want to interrupt you. I have plenty of questions, but if you have more to show, I can wait till the end.
Were you,
That was,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that's really it for the platform. I'm happy to do a deeper dive at a later point too, or just answer any questions if you want now on the platform before we get into the rest of the stuff.
No, I'm ready to get into the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, no, I've seen the demo before,
Yeah.
so I'm good.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for the next portion of today's presentation. Just give me 1 second here. Excellent. Let me know if everybody can see my screen.
Yep.
Awesome.
If there's a way to
So-
zoom in a little bit, that'd be great, or expand.
Yeah, of course. It's, hold on, no, I did just right there we go. How's that for everybody?
There you go.
Awesome. Cool. So, kind of piggybacking on Mike, talking about our Quest platform a little bit. Quest is something that is a key differentiator with SourcePass, and that being that it is our proprietary platform, right? There's other IT providers out there might have a portal, if you will, into ticket data. They might give you a glimpse on satisfaction scores from time to time, but SourcePass was really created to kind of fill a niche in the market for IT providers. And that was, the small MSP that knows your name, knows your infrastructure, right? Gives you that intimate experience. But they can be somewhat exhausted easily, right? Or maybe they don't have the personnel to be on site during a critical issue, right? Adversely, at the other end of the spectrum, there's the 900-pound elephants in the room, the giant providers. We all know their names, right? You're never going to exhaust them as a resource during critical outages, right? But, their 10,000 person help desk is going to kind of make the town feel a little bit like a number, right? Client number 4001. So SourcePass was created to kind of give the best of both worlds without giving any of the negatives, kind of a hybrid-like solution provider, if you will. And just with the Quest platform as an example, right, we tried to make that as client-focused as possible, because what we're trying to do is make sure that it gives full level of transparency, kind of bringing your report card after school, kind of a mantra there. And we have 20 software developers at our company of our 550 employees that are working on Quest every day, trying to make it better. Mike alluded a little bit to our instant chat feature of Quest. That'll be our fourth way of communication: email, phone, Quest portal itself, and the instant chat feature for your end users to get help over through SourcePass. So we're constantly making changes on a given day, going through it. And if that was something we use, like a third-party type portal system, we wouldn't be able to hear what changes that you want to see from recommendations. I have a client that, asked me to, hey, it's really difficult. I have 6 office locations. I'm the director of IT. I need to get this information on the go. And sure enough, just last year, we were able to provide it towards Android and iPhone's mobile app. So this is just an example kind of how we're growing this application, ever going based on what our customers are suggesting helps them with managing that transparency. So kind of getting into it, SourcePass does a lot of things that are a little different than most IT providers. One of which is kind of eliminating the noise. A lot of I've got about 7 years in the industry, and through my portfolio of companies I've worked for, there's different ways you can solution for IT support, right? There's things based on a per model of devices, workstations, after hours, levels of blocks of tickets, right? Per ticket type situations. And at the end of the day, I've kind of had experience with all of them was, at the end of every month, you've got to kind of true up, right? Where there's maybe you win a few tickets over, it's kind of peaks and valleys of invoicing on a day-to-day. And I came to SourcePass because I feel that pain from my clients. I said, it just doesn't make sense to keep doing that every month because it becomes a point of contention, right? And there's those peaks and valleys, like I said before. So SourcePass does this entirely different. We base it on the amount of users, right? We don't care how many laptops, how many desktops you have, how many company or town-issued phones you have, etc. We base it on how many people were at the office holiday party last year. That's the main number that we go off of. And we provide unlimited remote support, 24/7, 365, weekends, don't be ashamed to call us. And then we provide unlimited on-site IT support. So we're out of Pittsburgh, Massachusetts.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's where I want to get into.
Sure.
Obviously, we're already sold on you guys, but I do want to get into the nitty-gritty here. So starting from the top there, the remote IT
Sure.
support. So what do you use for remote access? Is it TeamViewer or is it through your proprietary Quest?
So yeah, I can grab that one. So we use a program called it's a RMM program by a company called ConnectWise. What that does is we put our agents on all of the town's devices. That allows us to remote into the device. It allows us to monitor the health of the device. It also allows us to patch the device and deliver our security tools, all from this agent. It's a little piece of software that gets installed. We use the
Yeah, so that's great. But okay, so the big thing for me, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of taking over here, but the on-site support. One, like, where are you all located again?
So we have an office in Pittsfield and East Hampton.
Okay, East Hampton. So
That's a background of the East Hampton office. It's virtual, but that's actually.
You got it, 'cause
Mike,
that
who
was
lives
the
in
main,
Massachusetts, answer that.
that was the main question. You know, obviously you can do remote IT support with software, but when it comes to the hardware, how does that work? Just through the ticketing system again?
Yeah, so the monitoring agent's gonna look at all the health of the devices. If we get a negative condition, we'll get an automatic report on that. If we determine that the issue can't be resolved remotely, we'll go on site to fix the issue.
Okay. Go ahead.
So, is that even like, you know, say we get a new police chief who's not very tech savvy, and he literally doesn't know how to get his email on his iPhone, like, is that, will you come meet this person personally to like get them set up if they can't, you know, just do it, they can't follow the instructions remotely?
Correct.
Nothing against our police chief, I know that he's fine, but I'm just, you know,
Right,
in a situation
yeah.
where.
Yes, the answer is yes. We'll dispatch either from the Pittsfield office or the East Hampton office.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm sorry we're not going through each one. We are kind of pressed
Oh,
for
that's okay.
time. So
Please.
what about authentication, like two-step? Is there like an Okta authentication tool? Do you have anything in place for that?
Yeah, so depends on what side, but the answer is yes. For a regular user, for a user of the town, logging into the systems, they will log in with an email address and password, and they'll also have multi-factor. So a second step of authentication, usually that's by way of the Microsoft Authenticator app, which is free, which just goes on a cell phone, and it can go on any phone that you wish, whether that's a town phone or a personal phone. I happen to have 3 of them, 3 applications on my phone. What that does is it detects if you're first logging in from a new site for the first time, it's just going to prompt a message on your phone to confirm that that's you.
And is it location enabled? So it'll say, hey, it looks like you're near Northampton or you're near Conway.
Correct. So part of the project that we would do, in which I'm sure you've reviewed too, is migrating from the on-premises server to the data to Microsoft land. We're going to put in best practices from security. So what we're going to do is work with you to apply what's called geo restrictions. So it says, hey, if you're logging in from, you know, Massachusetts, we can only allow logins from Massachusetts, or we can log in from this state or that state. We have the ability to tailor that, whatever works best for your business. Most people start off with say, hey, I want to have logins available for all of the US, but not overseas. And then we can actually apply different policies that say if it's outside of a certain time frame, et cetera. So there's no end to what we can do from a security practice on that. We'll work directly with you as part of this project to understand how tight or loose we want those controls to be.
For Microsoft, what all applications do we get? I'm not a huge fan of Zoom. I'd much rather use Teams. So
Your license, yep.
So yeah, I'm trying to see, are we licensed for Teams? Are we licensed for PowerPoint, Word, Outlook, obviously?
Is Teams something that we
Excel.
could use and make that, like, to replace Zoom for our public meetings? Is that a
I
possibility?
don't know, that I'd love to have an alternative.
You have to have,
I hate all of them.
well, you have to have Teams to get into it,
Oh,
so.
okay, so it wouldn't work for public access.
You can you
So-
access Teams through a browser? I don't think so, can
You
you?
can.
You can,
Oh.
yes. So the licenses that we're including with this project, everybody will be entitled to the full Office suite. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, etc. You can run those directly installable on a company-issued device, or you can run them from the web. So however your preference is. That does include Teams. You can switch, if you would like, from Zoom to Teams. And then if users want to join your meetings, they'll get a Teams link just like they get a Zoom link. and if they don't have Teams installed on their computer, they can launch it just from a web browser, just like I'm doing with this Zoom meeting right now.
And you can create teams within teams. So you can have the individual committees on each and an individual
Oh, cool, okay.
link to the meetings on each as well.
It's not as easy.
Yeah, we can advise on the best practices for that too. So for example, you could have a finance team with different channels under that team. So maybe there's the Public Safety Finance Committee, and maybe there's the DPW Finance Committee. You can organize it in that manner and then apply the appropriate permissions for those users who should have access.
In terms of the public, if the public wanted to join this Teams meeting, how would that work?
They would get a link.
They would join it for,
Just like the public has a Zoom link, it would be a Teams link.
It would just be the same
Yeah,
link
it would
every
basically
time?
be the same.
Okay.
Yeah, I always join from the browser. I never install Zoom.
Yeah. That's-
Okay, so I see in your quote using OneDrive, cloud-based for backups. Is there a size limitation with Outlook?
the default size limit is 50 gig mailbox with 50 gig archive.
Per user?
So it will automatically archive per user. That's just for the email. In addition, each user is given a 1 terabyte OneDrive storage repository. The backups will back up all of that data. There is no time or data size retention with that backup, meaning that everything we back up within Microsoft will be unlimited retention, both from a size and time perspective.
How many email accounts are available if we needed to add more emails? Is there a cost to that?
There is a cost. The cost depends on what exactly you need, because there's certain ways we can do it. So for example, if it's an alias, meaning that you want, rather than having your first initial last name and you want somebody to also receive email at DPW at, they can make an alias of a licensed mailbox, which means it doesn't cost you anything. If they want a specific mailbox, we could buy a business basic account with the add-on security, so it's really just giving them that email functionality without all of the other stuff if they don't need it. So there are cost-effective ways to get that stuff accomplished. It's just hard for me to say. It depends on the need. That's the type of stuff that if you look on the screen, you see the word strategic advisor. They're really their technical lead for the organization. They'll have these types of discussions with the town about options and the most cost-effective way to accomplish these things and the best way to move forward.
What do we pay now for Zoom, for like professional license?
We have 2 of them. It's like $32 a month.
For each?
No, for
Oh, just
2.
for, okay, all right, so it wouldn't be a significant savings if we got rid of Zoom?
No, it wouldn't. Mike and Dennis, should I switch over to our town budget so I can run through
Sure.
that real quick with okay, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll share screen then.
And I'll give you the com here.
Yeah, as a follow-up, if anybody has follow-up questions, I'll put I can put my email in the chat, and you can feel free. I'd be happy to answer any follow-up questions as well.
Oops. Let me see there we go, that's what I wanted. Okay, so I just wanted to run this through finance and the select board to show you the numbers for all of this. Looking at the breakout here, well, first I wanted to make sure that it's clear that there were 2 proposals here. One of them is for, annual managed service provider fees. And Dennis and Mike, jump in if I say something incorrectly. And the other one is a one-time project fee to migrate us over. So,
From SourcePass?
or into
SourcePass.
Microsoft,
Right. So
into the
there's-
cloud.
right, so-
Yeah. Right, so we're talking about 2 different things here. So I'm just going over what would be in the general fund budget.
Okay, there are 2 recurring fees in the one-time.
I know there are, so I'm getting there.
Okay, all right.
I'm getting, one of them is the Microsoft licenses.
Yeah,
Yes.
one's the security, the Cisco license.
Yeah,
Ver-
yeah,
Bernie,
Yep.
may I?
sure.
Guys, what I saw was the full-blown, Microsoft suite with the desktop apps, but there are a number of mailboxes. I don't want to call them ad hoc, but these sort of come and go. And up to now, they've been using, the kiosk accounts. So I didn't see an accounting for that on the proposal.
So would those just
Were
be like,
those,
are those
were
like
those
email addresses?
boxes?
I'm sorry?
Are those accounts, people are just using like Town of Conway email, but they're not necessarily using like the rest of the
Oh,
stuff
no,
that
they're
we have access
Microsoft,
to? They have
it's a
full access
it's
to-
the minimal Microsoft 365 mailbox account. It doesn't even let you use Exchange. You've got to use, or Outlook. You've
yeah.
got to use a web view on it. But there are a significant number of those. I'd have to look at an invoice to tell you how many, but might be possible there's 15 of them around there.
Or more?
It could be. I think you guys had that latest invoice which listed all of the accounts. So I guess the question is just making sure that you kind of equated that in the.
Yeah, because
yeah.
the full-blown accounts are like $23 a month without putting a calculator to it. But these kiosk accounts are like, $3 a month or thereabouts. So I don't want you to be surprised.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so the thought there is that every user has one of these licenses, and we can assign different aliases to that user. So from a security best practice standpoint, you want everything associated with an actual user, and then you can assign as many email aliases to that user as you see fit. Now, if there is a email box that is for a user that doesn't have a license, that's where you would get into sort of those other kiosk mailboxes and basic mailboxes. But the thought is with everybody having a license assigned to them, they can create unlimited aliases and unlimited shared mailboxes
Wow.
for free.
Okay.
So if we license everybody with that license, we can create the shared mailboxes at no cost and the aliases at no cost.
So let me just see if I understand this. So let's say we have the chair of the Conservation Commission has that one license for the Concom at conwayma.gov. Then you could do licenses shared with all the rest of the members for free? Is that what you're saying? No.
No.
Then
No, I'm saying, so say the police chief's name is John Smith, right? And John Smith has a license assigned to him, and he gets the license suite included, but he also wants police chief app, right? He wants to have his John Smith, but he also wants police chief.
Yeah,
He can
that's-
add that on for $0. It's known
Yeah.
as an alias.
So this, I think what we're looking at is that we do have a lot of email licenses that are the absolute bare minimum that you can get because they don't need to have access to any Word or, any of the other applications.
Exactly.
It's literally just the email. So I guess the question was whether those were included in your quote.
It's not.
It's not, okay.
Yeah, we just included the 14 users at the full license. I can certainly go back and redo it one more time, take another look to try to get a line of delineation on that. The employees that are actual employees that use town computers do need the full license because
Yes.
there's other feature sets included with that from a security perspective.
Right, that makes sense, but I guess I probably didn't send to you. So, we do the training with EOTS for the phishing and everything, and I have a list of all the email users. That's probably 32 altogether, something like that. We have a number of folks who have conwayma.gov emails that are not one of those 14.
Yeah, they need to be able to send emails
Right.
from their own
Right.
address.
Devices, yeah.
Right. So we're going to have a number of people who do, and I don't know, I guess I was assuming that since they would be using their personal phones, they would not be using town
Doesn't matter.
equipment. No, I understand. I'm just from their perspective and how they price things
Like
out.
we just want certain addresses to only
Right.
have, we want some users to only have access to email and that's it, like
Right.
nothing else.
For instance, the select board
Right.
members they all have, and they were not included because they don't have town devices, but they all have official town emails.
Okay, yeah, and in that scenario, they would need a very basic license.
Right.
A very basic license. So I can work with you directly to get that last count done. It's gonna be minimal cost because on an annual fee, they're so inexpensive for just that feature of just the email address. So I can go ahead and just make sure that that's included on that. I'll just revise that ever so slightly.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I can send you
We're
the.
talking, if that number's, $13, it's probably $36 or between $36 and $50 annually. I'll just have to double check that.
Okay.
Microsoft is actually increasing prices tomorrow, so we're trying to juggle the Microsoft licensing game right now.
Okay, so real quick for everybody here, so up here in the spreadsheet, okay, so this block right here is just their monthly cost times 12 for under contracted services. I just stuck this in here so everybody can see. We kept 2,000 in there for equipment and supplies. And then this right here, and this is where I can use help from Roy in case I've forgotten anything. The 16,141 is these items right here. So the Microsoft annual fee, Comcast, which we pay separately, our voice over internet, and then our website. Is that,
Looks right.
that covers everything? Okay, great, all right. So just so you can see that that's what the total would be with this proposal. And then on top of that would be the one-time fee, which I know Microsoft was included in, but we wouldn't have to do, we could take the Microsoft out when we're doing our budget for that amount.
Well, the one time, you mean the migration fee you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the migration fee includes the Microsoft, but that's going to actually be, for our accounting purposes, it would be put into the general fund because it's an annual
Okay,
fee, yeah.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
What is the status, the quality of our devices?
Quality
Of the computers in town hall? Are they antiquated machines or are they?
No, they're fairly new, but
Okay.
they're not Dell machines, or they're not Lenovo machines. But they more or less seem to do the job, and they're kind of throwaway, which is the way things were going. With the new regime in Washington, who knows? Maybe it won't be throwaway anymore. But they won't be updated quite as fast, and maybe that's a good thing. I can't tell you one way or the other. But they're fast machines, and they were very inexpensive. Saved the town a bunch of money.
And do we have a replacement schedule, so we have like some idea of when those machines will need to be
No, but that's
replaced?
something that we would work with
Yeah.
them on.
I mean,
on
it's,
developing.
guys, what's your current, suppose somebody was buying, a Windows workstation from you guys today, let's say it's Core i5 or faster type processor, could be AMD, doesn't matter, 16 gigs, and just the solid state drive because nothing should really be on the machine, so what are you quoting for that these days?
It depends on monitor size and stuff. It's are you talking about a laptop or a desktop?
No, a desktop.
A desktop?
Yeah.
Yeah, you typically see them run around $800, give or take. I
Okay.
mean, they're not overly expensive these days.
Well, that's a significant, I'm just pointing this out to Veronique because I'm bowing out of this, and that $2,000 line isn't going to get you very far
No.
of
That's what I
this.
was-
That's what I was looking
Let me say that when you have a Dell machine, you have a serial number, and you can keep that machine alive at a cost longer than you would just throw, but
Yeah.
I just had a dishwasher fry in my house. It was 6+ years old, and they're telling me that's the lifespan you can expect out of
That's
a
what they
dish.
tell you. I have the
Okay.
same thing with my fridge, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
right.
when you go to the cost of repairing it,
Yeah.
it's like What am I doing here?
So you have to buy a motherboard.
Excuse me, if you can find somebody to repair it in Conway.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Generally
digress.
speaking, it's 3 to 5 years you want to plan for. Typically, it's on the lower end scale if you're a laptop, because they tend to take a lot more abuse because they travel, they go from here to there, whereas a desktop is stationary. So most people plan with a 3 to 5 year life cycle on those types of hardware devices.
Yeah.
That's 5, and I'm getting
Okay.
replaced tomorrow.
Yeah. Any other questions on the budget end of things?
No.
So I just have a question in terms of the installation. Are we going to have a separate warrant for the, are we going to break out recurring fees and put them in the operating budget for IT and have a separate warrant for the conversion?
Correct, so that was one of the things I had put in the free cash chart, was
Okay.
this one time,
So we
in
can
case
sort
that's
of
where you want to put it.
in the one-time quote here, there's actually recurring fee. 2 of them actually, a 3-year license for Cisco, and then the Microsoft 365. I think that should be part of the operating
That
budget.
should be-
That's already in, that's what you put in the operating budget.
Well, I put.
Well, you didn't put the Cisco
I didn't put the
licenses.
Cisco, so we'll have
Yeah.
to move the Cisco over.
Right,
So
thank you.
I can work with you guys on reorganizing that to suit the way we're gonna have to do money.
Thank you. That's it.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So,
All right. Well, hey, thank you, gentlemen, for joining. Thank you for answering all of our questions. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I put my email address in the chat too. If anybody has any follow-up questions or you're curious on anything, please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
and I'll be in touch with that information for you both.
Great. Have a
Okay.
great night. I'll
Thanks.
take care.
Thanks,
Good night.
you too, good night.
All right, let's move on to 132, Reserve Fund.
Yeah, that's very easy. We just normally do $40,000 every year. I just wanted to point out that that's, I can bring it up
Keeping it
again.
the same.
We move to reserve.
Where, there we are, 132
What
reserve.
number is that?
132.
It's not on here. Right?
On your schedule.
Okay.
It's on the agenda, yeah.
It's on the
Hang on,
agenda.
let me
You have to go to the,
share the screen.
One thing, before we move to this, I forgot to ask them where their off-hours support is located. So you should ask them.
You said East Hampton.
In other words, do they outsource it to the Philippines or
yeah.
to these
Oh.
places? You know, not their regular business hour stuff, but on,
But, yeah, who picks up the phone?
On Christmas Day.
I was gonna say that, or 4th of July or something.
Yeah.
And Jan is working because, I don't know why she was working that, but she has a problem.
Yeah.
Well, they're national, aren't they? So even if local offices, I would hope they've got someone out in California who's 4 hours earlier on Christmas Day who can answer
Right.
the call.
We,
At least,
we
whether they
also,
show up or not.
we also didn't ask them about VPN type access and how they
Yeah.
work that,
Right.
and even the cost for that, because I don't believe it's built in here.
Does anyone do VPNing now? Is that something that?
No, I think he said it was, we were gonna be doing away with VPNing because we're going to the cloud, so we don't have to worry about
So
that
you
anymore,
don't have
was
to-
And
what
see,
I
see,
understood.
that's a whole other line. We can, you and I can
Okay.
talk with him, because then people are on their home laptops or home PCs accessing town stuff, and where does their responsibility for
Right.
security begin and end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing that I've wrestled with, because you don't want me messing with your home PCs, and yet you want, you know, which is why moving forward, when they're quarterly, you know, their 3-year plan, you might want to think about just replacing desktops with laptops. And then people are responsible for them, but they can bring them home, work on that, and then when they're coming in the office, they bring it in.
Oh, I'm sorry, I need a big monitor, I can't do.
No, no,
Look
no.
at it.
Monitor.
No, you
Okay.
can, no, you can plug it
It's
in.
basically your hard
No,
drive.
put-
No, okay.
What they used to do in
that.
places was I worked in a place like that where you plugged it into it was a
Docking
Dell,
station.
a docking
Yeah.
station,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Right, but that
That's what I do.
solves this whole thing, unless you want them to take over the security of that
No,
phone. That's
I
another.
totally agree.
I mean-
Yeah, I agree, no, I think that's a great solution.
I think if I work
Well-
only
So
allowed to
what are
VPN
Stephanie
from.
and Lori here for?
Personnel committee.
Personnel, okay.
Okay, so there it is, 132 reserve fund. We've done $40,000 every year for the last 5 years. So it was just, hadn't been reviewed yet.
Okay.
So
All right.
There's something in the chat, is that?
that's his email
Okay, all right.
address.
The,
phone number.
the last item on the joint meeting with finance is discussion and vote on the source of funding for the new swap shop.
Yes, okay, so I had to just clarify with Mike. We did have a discussion about needing extra funding for the swap shop.
Oh.
The only thing he needs for documentation
Shouldn't this go down to 20?
would be a vote recorded of the Finance Committee and Select Board agreeing to approve a mid-year expenditure above the amount that was set at town meeting. And that's fine, you're all allowed to do it, and the only thing Mike needs is that approved minutes from that, recording that vote.
And how much over is it?
I was gonna request 9,000 just to make sure we had
Yeah.
enough for maybe site setup or something if we have to do that. So we're getting 6,000 in the grant. And the one we looked at was roughly 14,000, so that gives us a little buffer.
Yeah, if we're gonna vote, we need a limit on that.
It'd be 9,000.
9,000,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's my request, is that you all consider approving $9,000 to be taken out of the Special Revenue Fund 425 transfer station revenue. There is enough in there. Because, just to explain again, that there is a cap that was put in at town meeting for revolving funds. That one had a $10,000 cap. We already spent that on the new catwalk that Owesco built for us, so now this, yeah, so this came up, so this is an extra mid-year expenditure that needs both Select Board and Finance Committee approval.
Do you want us to vote on it?
Do we
Yes,
have
please.
do we have to sign something?
You don't have to sign anything,
We
it
just have to
just,
make a
it
motion
just
and vote.
needs, yeah, each of you would, Finance and Select Board would need to make a motion, approve it.
So
It
it's a
gets
transfer from the revolving fund
From the
to,
special revenue fund?
It's
To-
to allow us to expend an additional $9,000 from the transfer station special revenue fund number 425 to help purchase the new Conway Mall.
I make a motion to approve the transfer of $9,000 from the Conway Transfer Station Special Revenue Fund number 425 for the creation of a new mall building.
second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So move to finance to only expend what is necessary.
Yeah.
Second.
All
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
So, Barry, one thing, the reserve fund, do you still want to keep it at 40? I mean,
That's up to you all.
could it go to 25?
You certainly
Are we
could.
superstitious here? We drop it 25 and we get clobbered with?
That's
Okay,
that's the only one.
leave it at 40.
Probably what will happen.
It
Yeah.
hasn't changed in many years.
I know, but it
I don't
hasn't.
know what the
we
rationale
haven't
is.
No,
used
so
it.
do you want to
40
poke the
grand,
bear?
the number
All
is
right.
it.
We're done?
Phyllis, did you open your meeting?
No.
We done?
Yes.
We're
Finance
done.
committee, then, I make a motion.
All
to
right.
adjourn.
So this is
Thank
motion
you.
to open a meeting of the Conway Personnel Committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have everybody in attendance, Deputy Recor, myself, and Alan Singer.
Great, thank you.
And do you want me to start my presentation?
Yes, by all means.
Or, okay. All right, so I did an agenda. I will share it with everybody. I'm getting a notice saying sharing's not turned on.
Yep.
Veronique, can
I will do it. Hang on. I didn't know you were gonna. Excuse me, Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
throw away. So while she's doing that, what we are here to do with Select Board is to brief you on 4 recommendations
I already did
where
it.
we
Oh,
voted
sorry.
yes. Related to town employees, I'll present those. They should be fairly quick. And then there will be a 5th item that we will need to discuss, which is the highway superintendent request. And I'll brief you on the background of that when we get to it. So we'll scroll through the 4 simple ones first, and then we'll go to the 5th. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. So I go to my application window, documents, what am I doing?
You go down to share. Well, you have to have it loaded up, sort of ready. Have you already hit share?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, then you gotta find the document you wanna share.
All right, so what I'm looking at is a screen that says entire screen, desktop 1, application windows. Is that what I need to see?
Share desktop one and see
yeah.
what happens.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, share desktop two.
All right, let's see if this will work.
We need Source Pass tickets open here.
Get those guys back on.
Well, Zoom workspace to see, okay. I suppose you can't see anything yet?
No. What I usually do is open the document that I wanna share, and then I go to share.
Do you have more than one screen, Phyllis, or just one?
No, I only have one screen.
You could email it to me real quick and I can share it.
I did email it to you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, at about 5:30.
okay. All right, I've got it. Hang on a sec.
Okay,
It's just loading.
great. Great, great. I might just go to my copy so I can see it better. So I can't see you, but you can scroll through it.
Okay. There we go. How did I do that?
Oops.
There we go.
Excuse me.
Go.
Okay.
Everything froze.
So Chris, while we're doing that, do you want to vote on each one individually, or do you want me to brief you on the 4 and then you vote on the 4? How do you want to handle it?
Let's go through the 4, and then if there's no opposition, we can just vote on it in one vote.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I can't seem to make it get bigger on here.
Press Control on here, and then roll your dial up. Oh, you're frozen.
Yeah.
You might want to stop sharing and try
All
again.
right, let me do that. Hang on just a sec. I'm gonna go back in here and I'm gonna make it bigger before I share. So, come on, stop it. Not gonna be
There
way
you
too
go.
big.
That'll work.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, sorry with all this technical back and forth. All right, I think that's a little better.
All right, you guys can you see what I see? You ready?
Yes, go ahead.
All right, so just scroll down to the first table under continuing business. So the first request was assistant to the town administrator to increase hours from 19.5 to 30 hours. This request is a reflection of how many hours were already worked above 19.5 hours currently but not compensated. This was a request from Veronique, the town administrator. Personnel committee voted yes to recommend this for select board approval. The second one on town clerk was a request to increase her hours from 25 to 30 hours. And this is a reflection of how many more duties are required by state, town clerks due to state directives. So there's no increase in hourly rates with this request, it's just an increase in hours. And personnel committee voted yes to recommend for select board approval. Transfer station attendants, increase in an hourly wage from $17 to $18.50. This request came from select board to put transfer station attendants in line with other towns. There's no COLA for 2026 associated with this, and we agreed and recommend to select board to approve that.
And can we just say that there would be no COLA because if the COLA would be greater or less, or
Mhm.
basically they get the raise or the COLA or they don't get both.
Right. Transfer station manager hourly increase from $19 to $20.50, similar to above request from select board to put transfer stations wages in line with other towns, no 2026 COLA, and yes, personnel committee voted yes to recommend for select.
So I'm sorry, can you go back to the top?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion to vote to increase the assistant TA hours from 19 and a half to 30 hours, to increase the town clerk's hours from 25 to 30 hours, to increase the hourly wage of the transfer station attendants from $17 an hour to $18.50 an hour, and to increase the transfer station manager hourly pay from $19 to $20.50 an hour.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Can I just
Great.
make a clarity point here? And I don't know if I did this earlier, Phyllis, or not, but with the town clerk, it isn't quite as relevant how many hours, it's actually the amount of money, because it's a stipend that's paid for the amount of work done. So I think somewhere, and I had in there and I don't have this in front of me, but it was like going from 41 to 49, I can't remember. But just to be clear that the approval is for the amount of a stipend. Technically, it's however long it takes to get the job done.
Okay.
So this is actually kind of more like a raise than it is, but obviously she's included, she's upping the number of hours, and will be decreasing the number of hours as the Board of Health clerk. But I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that was
Okay.
it's a stipend. Yeah, so anyway, sorry.
And there's no issue with that stipend?
Right, right, no issue. Okay, thank you, sorry.
All right, am I ready to continue?
Yes.
Okay, so the last item for discussion, and this will be interesting, is there was a request by the highway superintendent for a $6,000 increase in salary, which would bring a $79,000 salary to $85,000. This is a 7.5% salary increase. And this is related to hours worked by the highway superintendent for snow and ice removal. And this figure was calculated based on an average of overtime put in by hourly highway department staff. Now, Veronique's initial recommendation when Personnel Committee met on March 20th was to consider awarding this as a stipend under the snow and ice budget line and not as a salary increase. However, subsequent consultation with the town accountant and town treasurer, it was advised that this money, if awarded, must be a salary increase and cannot be a stipend. Therefore, we had initially voted yes to recommend for select board to consider it as a salary increase, and therefore we need to discuss again and vote again, because we have been advised by the town accountant and the town treasurer that this cannot be awarded as a stipend. So I put together some discussion points, not in any particular order, just things that occurred to me while I was putting this agenda together earlier today. Again, this is a 7.5% salary increase, substantially higher than a COLA, and also generally substantially higher than salary increases generally. This is my personal opinion, snow and ice removal has been part of the highway superintendent's role for several years. So this is not a new responsibility. It's something that's already happening. And I would also point out that given prior approvals for hourly wage increases for highway department staff, and there was a prior salary increase for the highway superintendent, how can this request be justified if this is not a new responsibility and it is just a request to be compensated for something that is already part of the role? And of course, this made me think of there were open hourly position roles in the highway department that I do not know if those have been filled yet. And then my final concern is that if approved, will this set an unwelcome precedent with respect to other town employees? And I'm very interested to hear the select board's, thoughts on this particular request.
So I'm curious to know, when was the last time we paid the highway superintendent an additional stipend for snow and ice removal, if we've done that before.
The only time that I know of with the current is, it was, I want to say maybe 2013, I'd have to,
That would make sense, because we had a huge snow year that year.
2013.
Well, I remember 2014 in Boston, had a huge snow, but we had a lot of snow here too. Boston got dumped on, just because I was driving there all the time.
So we did pay the highway superintendent a stipend out of our
it wa-
emergency money, right? Didn't we?
Oh,
That was
that's-
for the storm related.
that's
Right, so I just,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so we have paid the highway superintendent a stipend for work, which seems like above and beyond what anyone expected that job to be that year.
That was actually from a state grant when we got. from-
Right, that was from the state, that was not, yeah, we just, okay, so, but as far as town budget paying a stipend to the highway superintendent for winter work above and beyond, like for a particularly bad snow season, the last time we think that that's happened, possibly 2013?
Yeah, I'm curious, was this didn't seem like a bad snow season, so why the request? Like this was not even average.
I think the ice made it actually quite a difficult season.
I mean, I feel like this was a worse year than the year before, but I worry about setting a precedent where we can't anticipate what the weather, like, if we say, we're gonna give you $6,000 for extra plowing winter, 25, 26, and it winds up to be a bust, like, it just.
So I totally agree with you. I think what happened is that a lot of the labor burden was put on our superintendent because of the lack of staff.
Oh, I thought he was staffed up by
Well,
winter.
now he is. We've addressed the issue. I think that over the last couple years, there was an undue burden put on our superintendent for that. I was okay with the idea of doing a stipend for hours beyond the norm of being worked. What I'm fearing is that because that stipend for one annual year can't move forward, that we're increasing the salary for every subsequent year.
Right,
When next year, we might not even have snow.
right.
So I take issue with adding it to the salary. The stipend I would have been okay with. If that's not possible, then I think it's an impasse here.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the other way you could approach it is, I think one of the things that stood out for me was, this is part of the normal responsibility for the role, right? It's not a new responsibility. It's not like the role has changed or some additional burden of effort has been placed on someone that the highway superintendent didn't know about a year ago.
like a massive,
Even-
unexpected flood.
Right.
Well, another example would be last year, there was a substantial amount of money that was paid to the highway superintendent. And Vernie, correct me if I don't remember this correctly, but the town was able to compensate him for his effort because of money that the town received from the state. And his effort and his hours were part of the application. So therefore, if he did the work and it was part of the application and the town got the money, it was only fair and ethical to compensate him because his effort was part of the reason why the town got the money in the first place.
It was outside
But
his
this-
job description now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What the work he
Yes,
did was
exactly.
completely outside
Yes,
his job.
exactly.
Yeah.
But this is within a job description.
Right, correct, and that's the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree on that.
yeah, I mean, personally, if it were okay with legal and our treasurer, I would be okay annually saying like, this was a really crazy snow year and you only had 2 other plow drivers, and yes, we'll, provide a stipend recognizing that this.
But we
employee had to
can't
go-
provide a stipend.
Well, exactly,
Erica,
so,
we-
right, so if we can't, I would be okay with the stipend if legal and our accountant were okay with it, but since they're not, if it has to be part of the salary, I'm not comfortable bumping up the salary without, in anticipation of a weather event that we have
Every
no
year.
idea. Right, exactly.
Are we
Yeah.
is Ron at market now?
You mean as far as compared to other superintendents?
Yeah.
I think we're in the middle.
Of towns at our size.
I mean,
I
we
think we're in the
made,
middle.
we've been
and it's
trying to
just-
make adjustments.
Yeah, we've been trying to make
Certain
adjustments with
adjustments.
every job,
Yeah.
like the TA, the, you know, the superintendent, the police chief.
Hey, Stephanie, can you mute your, sorry.
I mean, I think it's unfortunate we can't do it as a stipend, because I would be okay with doing it as a stipend on a,
Right.
case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
But if we can't, I don't feel
Yeah.
comfortable doing this.
Or
as a
if there's
salary.
another avenue outside of adding to the salary.
Yeah,
I would like, I'm not okay with voting to increase the salary just simply
Mhm.
for snow.
I would agree with that.
But if we could explore maybe other avenues, then I would suggest that. I wouldn't say, nix this completely, but I'm not okay adding it to the salary, given that
I
it is
second
part of
that.
the job duties already.
I mean, I
There's
want to
a,
compensate people who go above and beyond, because that's, we've tried to do that to the extent that
Yeah.
we can, but I feel like
We
this
have done it.
We have.
Right, but I feel like
Next time.
this sets a precedent that I
Yeah.
don't think we want to,
Yeah.
and I know that we can't afford, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Well, one of the things is why you staffed up and raised the hourly wages for the other people in the highway department is
Right.
to take advantage of flex time too. If he does work the dickens for a storm, then, be compensated by taking extra days off, quote unquote, here and there. That was all part of the rationale. of
Yeah.
And the problem is, a
I think
lot of
this-
people,
this was,
truthfully, a lot of people don't like the idea of flex time because time doesn't matter to them as much as cash.
right, and I think it should be stated that the only reason we're even having this discussion is because we have a highway super that does go above and beyond.
Right.
And has helped the town save money and has been more of a laborer than most superintendents are, because not only did we need it, but he's also very good at it.
Well,
So,
the other point you could make too, Chris, is that there have been projects that were outside of normal responsibilities, like excavation and site work for pickleball courts and the public safety building.
yeah, I don't think people in our town understand how much money that man has saved us.
Well, I'm
Not just
I'm
with that, but with
disputing
with the
Yeah, but
actual.
we're getting sidetracked here. We've
Yeah.
only got like 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get
I
some
don't-
direction here.
I don't want to set a, I mean, I value all of our town employees, but I don't want to set a precedent based upon the performance of one particular town employee that we completely and totally value, with the expectation that if that person's gone, then the next person we hire might also,
Completely agree.
I
yeah,
agree.
so I think we need to be,
What I heard as my charge was to find out if there is any way outside of
A salary increase.
salary increase.
or a stipend.
Yeah,
Well, we
yeah.
can't do that, yeah.
Right,
but yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Is there any way that
Is
we
there
can-
any other way for us to do it? So I
Yes.
will look into that.
All right,
Yeah.
great, thank you.
An award? I know in corporate America, that is a possibility, right?
Award?
So, yeah, an
Oh.
award, like a bonus almost.
Yeah.
It's based on performance.
Plane tickets, I don't know. I guess my question is,
It's taxable.
Can I just have
That's
another-
taxable
Yes.
income.
Go
I
ahead.
just ask like a process question. Who will be the person that will communicate this back to
Oh,
the
he
highway
watches
superintendent?
these.
Veronique is his direct supervisor. That would be his direct supervisor, I
Yep.
would think.
All right, so I think, and Veronique, correct me if I'm wrong, personnel committee needs to vote and select board needs to vote on this decision? No,
I
or
mean, we're
yes
not
or
making
no?
it.
Or you
I
want to
think-
table
I-
it until you find out.
I think it's
some workaround?
tabled until
It's- yeah,
I
it's no vote.
explore if there's any other
Possible
options.
workaround.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Thank you.
So this vote is tabled. Okay.
I guess they could vote, but it's not on our agenda for
Well-
a vote, so.
Well, there's
There's a
nothing to vote
workaround.
really,
Yeah.
aside from saying,
Yeah.
and I don't wanna kill it. I just
Yeah.
wanna see if there's extra, or there's another opportunity elsewhere.
Well, I think when Veronique notified the committee that, it can't happen via a stipend, that basically killed one avenue
Yeah,
that had been used in the past. So now it's going to require some kind of more creative solution, I think.
yep,
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
but understandable.
Yep. Well, thank you, Personnel Committee.
Yes, thank you for your work on all of this.
You're welcome. And thanks to Veronique too, because,
Yeah.
she's the one that puts together all the information for us.
Well, I like the very brief and concise,
You'll see more of that.
yeah,
All
that's
right,
great.
we like
I
it.
like that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Did you want to adjourn your meeting?
All right. Yeah, I'm going to convene our meeting now. We're going to close the Personnel Committee meeting. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, thank you, Alan, for
Welcome.
both
I get a
committees.
stipend for that?
So we'll
Our undying
get-
appreciation.
I'll get you a card to Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, I like that. I already have them for $10 I haven't used it.
Okay,
Thank you for
back
letting
to-
me know how you like your presentations. That matters to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Back to new business discussion and vote to sign Castle and match agreement for the MEMA-FEMA hazard mitigation plan.
Yes, so what that's about is just more paperwork, honestly, that they need us to sign.
Yeah.
That we are willing to put forward $5,000 for a project that will cost in total $20,000 to get a new hazard mitigation plan update, which is already going to be out, it's already out of date.
It is,
Oh,
isn't it
so we're-
is a year or two out of date?
No,
Something like
it just ended March.
Okay.
So it just came out of date, but I've been trying to get money for this for a year, some guidance for a year. So we've applied to FEMA, but they need this paperwork as part of the application, which of course they only just sent me, so.
Oh, so just me.
Actually, that's just Chris, that doesn't commit us to spending $5,000.
Yes, it does.
It does. It's
It
that
does.
5,000 is the match of the
However-
15.
However, that comes out of, so I have $18,500 in a grant match and administration fund.
Right,
that's
okay,
under-
all
yeah.
right,
So that would just come out of there
It's a lot.
cleanly, it's, yeah.
It's already been allocated. Okay.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Do we need to vote? If
Yes.
Chris is the only one to sign? Okay,
Yep.
so I vote that we sign the Castle and match agreement for the MEMA-FEMA hazard mitigation plan update grant. $5,000 to come out of town administrative budget. Grant match.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like I signed it as well. Lord.
Yeah, well, basically, you sign the paperwork that says, these are the people who are allowed to sign, and then you sign, and then you sign the grant letter match.
I hope it's okay I'm doing Christopher and Chris.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure they know where to find you.
What is my job? I'm just gonna get a stamp and give it to Mary.
Exactly.
All right.
I've got your signature
I know,
to
I
sign
was like,
stuff. I don't have,
I got elected, and the first thing anybody wanted was my signature. I gave that away
I
years ago.
have yours that I
Yeah.
use for
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Done. 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 All right. Last item on new business is to vote to sign. It says discussion, then vote to sign the addendum to the town administrator contract. I don't think there's any discussion needing.
No.
So I'll make a motion to sign the addendum to the TA contract.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And apologies, one of the next things is gonna be the TA update, and I do not have one this week, so we have double duty next week.
Oh, sure. Give her a raise.
Items not anticipated, none, no TA updates, select board member comments, concerns.
I'm good this week.
Good.
I have some, if you all don't mind, I will
No.
not be long. We have a littering problem in this town, especially along the roads on the way to the transfer station and on 116 in particular. I would like to talk with Jan about making sure, because it's so much trash or recycling on 116 that I have a feeling it's might be due to their trucks.
Oh.
So I want to make sure that they're sealed properly.
Where on 116? I've not noticed
Just
this.
look on 116.
Did you see the full vodka bottle, or the
Oh,
vodka
no,
bottle?
no, no.
They're trash bags. Like there's stuff everywhere on each side. If you go at the right time when the light's hitting it, you'll see cans everywhere. It's a lot. When I'm walking my dog, I always have an extra bag with me, and
Well,
it's
like
filled by the end of
116
it.
past the bank, or like 116, like
All the
where
way
116?
down to South Deerfield.
Like
All
from
the
the
way.
covered bridge
Oh,
to.
yes.
all the way.
I've noticed a few things today,
Yeah.
but not that much.
There's a lot. There's
Okay,
quite a bit.
I will look.
Part of it is spring thaw.
True, but
You know,
especially
they've been dumping
after
it
the
all
school.
year.
Like once you pass the school,
Mhm.
there's a ton
Okay,
all the way
alright.
down to South Deerfield. And then I also want to talk to our chief, the Big Don, and try to see what the laws are on littering and the fines, because if they catch somebody, I would like to impose the maximum fine.
Right.
There's no purpose or reason for littering. And I think we should also put something up at the transfer station for people with pickup trucks to make sure that they secure their recyclable and their trash.
A lot of it's alcohol bottles that are tossed.
True. I do think some of it might be that people are driving around. The most of what I picked up were alcohol,
Right.
like beer cans,
Right.
and it's all the same stuff,
Oh, yeah.
right? So it was
Take a walk down Conway Station.
some gross like coffee with coffee crack mixture.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? What is it's the energy drink? It was like a
Yeah.
coffee energy
Yeah.
drink, and it was the same at the Monsters and same everywhere. So it's like I think it's one person.
It's the same, well, it's probably the same.
Do you think
people
it's
for each
been
drink or-
worse? Well, but if it's recycling, it's not trash then. So
No,
it's not like.
I
do you
think I personally think it's part thaw that you're seeing it, and I do think that something had to have happened. I would have noticed some of this before. Something had to have happened with the truck. I honestly think it was something like that.
The only thing is
Plus,
that
there's
one
been a lot
doesn't
of
go
wind.
on there.
That one doesn't have, it has the sliding doors, which
Yeah.
are always zip tied.
Okay.
So I don't know how, like, in the bulky, they have to have the big tarp that
Well,
comes
it's
over.
not that then. If it has a sliding door.
Yeah, I don't
We
think
should
it,
do like a, you know, the highway patrol field trip, you know, and,
yeah.
There needs to be a cleanup for sure.
well, yeah, like a, you
Well,
know.
it's at night, too.
Well, no, but I mean, but like, I'm gonna, when I drive down there tomorrow, I'm gonna take a look, 'cause honestly, I went
Oh,
up down
there's
that road
so
today
much.
and I didn't even notice.
Just
I guess
even
it's
if you're
like-
walking around town and you look on the side, you'll see stuff everywhere.
Well, the pull-off on 116 down there by the river, that
Yeah.
is they have a no dumping sign, but people dump
yeah,
large
I've seen
things
that.
of trash
Yeah.
there and over the fence into the river there, which is the Mill River, I think.
That's so gross.
I know,
That's-
it's disgusting.
So Lori can
Keep an eye out.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think littering is under the Board of Health purview in terms of like fining and stuff.
Okay.
Maybe not. I know it's been that way in another town. It may not be the rule everywhere, but I know it has been before, so that could be something that we.
So sticking to the transfer station, the mall,
Mhm.
I was there over the weekend. There's still a lot of stuff in there, tons of hangers and tons of stuff that needs thrown out. So I don't know
Did
what's.
Salvation Army get there yet?
I
Is it
don't.
empty?
Well, that's the thing. Is
So
you might wanna-
waiting on-
Jan has already, she's scheduling with the Salvation Army to take care, because the guys all went up there and boxed and bagged.
Well, what are we
everything.
doing with like all the hangers? Because I assume they want to keep the hangers, right?
I don't know. It's up to them when they come, and I don't know if they've, I know Jan's gonna be up there tomorrow, because she and I are gonna look, because we still have an opportunity potentially to use that $6,544.
Yeah.
And we were gonna look at the guardrails, so she's
Oh,
going
so
up.
if you're gonna be there, just look inside the
Uh,
mall. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
mean, we could just, I mean, if we had to, bag
Dump
that.
it. Or bag it or dump it,
Bag
yeah.
dump it.
On the side of the road.
What else? There's a poll hearing Veronique already knows about. She's gonna give me the map for Main Poland. There were some residents that reached out saying they weren't notified. So I'll get them the
They
map.
are working on Roaring Brook big time.
Yes, they are.
Lately.
Big time. And then what else? If one of you could be part of that Pine Hill discussion later this week.
Oh, yeah, actually, Veronique, I emailed you back. That's Wednesday at 2. I can do that.
Okay.
excellent, thank you.
So I have that on my calendar already.
Great, oh, thank you.
And then before the next election comes up, I just wanted to state that we talked about changing the chair position every year.
Mhm.
So I think it's Erica's time to take the crown. So before the election, I would like to have a vote to change the chair position.
I'm rather reluctantly agreeing to that.
I just want to check and make sure whether that happens before or after
Definitely
the
do it
election. I
I
think
think
you
it
might
can-
have to do it right after the
I
election.
think it can happen anytime. I remember having this
Oh, really?
conversation with
Oh, okay.
our town attorney last year.
Okay,
And
cool.
it's subject to.
I thought it was when we reformed.
Yeah, I thought it was
That's what we did.
reorganization every.
Oh, then
Or-
let's just do that after
Yes.
the election.
Or
Okay.
at
That's when it is.
the
Yeah.
request of.
Right, it can
Or
be
it-
done,
it-
and
it-
you can
right.
change it, but
So
I
it's-
think
Well, it's the first
typically-
meeting after the election.
It's a
Typically,
big
that's
for
when
school
we do it.
committee.
The only
Yeah.
reason I wanted to do it before is if I'm being contested and don't win, I want to make sure it's handed off.
Oh.
I guess it doesn't really
I don't
matter.
think that'll
If-
happen.
yeah.
But, you know, okay. Sorry, that's all I had for the comments. Mail, Keith Morris Vegetation Management Plan. What's this about?
It's just letting us know their plans to come in and do the spraying.
Oh, for the railroad. Got it. Nothing we can do about that. Okay, thank you. No announcements. The next meeting is gonna be April 7th. Anybody else? Anything else on me? I'll
Nope.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.